The fading signal. The skies over the alien colony of Lorna were no longer blue. Smoke curled into the air as another village burned near the southern ridge. Once a peaceful farming world, Lorna had become a target. No one knew who the raiders were, only that they came fast, hit hard, and left nothing standing. Inside the Central Council dome, fear filled the air like poison. The leaders sat around a cracked table, their robes stained with soot and blood. Elder Rana, the oldest among them, pressed a trembling finger to the communication panel. "This is our last chance," she said softly. "We've already sent requests to 5 major powers," replied another counselor. None answered. "They're afraid. They don't want to risk their fleets for a colony that offers them nothing." Rana looked out the window at the broken streets below. "Then we must send the general call, the ancient protocol." "The SOS?" gasped one of the younger aides. "That goes to everyone, even the—" "Do it," she said. With shaking hands, the aide activated the emergency beacon. A bright pulse fired into the sky, and across the stars, a simple message was repeated again and again. "This is the colony of Lorna. We are under attack. Please help us. Anyone." The signal echoed into space through trade lanes, pirate zones, and peaceful regions alike. Most listened, shrugged, and turned away. Others simply didn't hear it at all. But far away, on the edge of known space, one human outpost heard it loud and clear. In a small Earth military base orbiting a dead moon, alarms began to flash. Lieutenant K sat up from his bunk and rushed to the control panel. "Unknown signal received," the computer said. He played it back. His face went cold. He recognized the distress pattern. "Lorna," he whispered. "That's a colony in Sector 9. He didn't wait. K forwarded the message straight to Earth Central Command with only one line attached. "Confirmed SOS. Civilian population under attack. Requesting response." Then, for a while, nothing. But hours later, a single encrypted message returned. "Deathworlder response team approved. Deployment begins in 2 cycles." K's heart skipped a beat. The Deathworlders were coming. Back, on Lorna, night fell slowly. The colony's lights were dim, many power stations destroyed by the last raid. Families hid underground, unsure if help would ever come. Elder Rana stood on the highest balcony, staring at the stars. A child approached her quietly. "Will anyone come?" the girl asked. Rana knelt down. "I don't know, little one, but we must hope." Suddenly a sound filled the air like distant thunder. Rana stood, her eyes searching the sky. A shimmer rippled above the horizon. Then a massive ship broke through the clouds, followed by another and another. Metal giants, dark and angular, descended in silence. They were not painted in bright colors, no symbols of peace or diplomacy, only steel, gunmetal, and red hazard lights blinking across their hulls. One ship alone was larger than the colony's entire city center. As they drew closer, a voice boomed from every speaker and translator device across the colony. "This is Earth Command. Lorna Colony distress signal received. Planetfall initiated. Remain calm." Rana dropped to her knees. "They came," she whispered. "By the stars. They really came." But not everyone shared her awe. Deep within a cave bunker, 2 survivors listened to the same message. "Earth?" one of them asked. "Aren't they the Deathworlders?" "Yes," the other replied quietly. "They are. They're not known for mercy, are they?" "No," the older one said. "But they're known for finishing what they start." The sky outside roared as the first wave of human dropships made planetfall, landing in perfect formation. No music, no fanfare, just silence and power. The Deathworlders had arrived. Fear of the unknown word spread fast. From crumbled farms to broken outposts, everyone in the Lorna colony heard the same thing. The Deathworlders were here, and that one word, Deathworlders, brought both hope and dread. In a small medical shelter near the eastern cliffs, A young medic named Toma whispered to his injured father. "Humans have come," he said, wiping the sweat from his father's brow. "Real ones. From Earth." The old man opened one eye. "Are we saved? Or finished?" Toma didn't answer. He wasn't sure. In the colony square, a crowd had gathered. No one stepped too close to the towering Earth soldiers now standing guard. They wore heavy armor, dark as the void, and their helmets hid their faces. Not a single one had spoken since landing. Instead, they worked. They moved in small units, setting up barriers, scanning buildings, handing out supply crates. A few humans carried strange devices, tall rods that hummed and pulsed as they planted them into the ground. The machines released shimmering energy domes above them, shields. Aliens peeked from doorways and rooftops. Whispers spread like wildfire. Are they here to fight? Will they take over? Why don't they speak? Do they understand us? In truth, the humans understood everything, but they didn't waste words. Not when lives were on the line. From orbit, more Earth ships continued to arrive. Massive cruisers, medical carriers, and mobile barracks. The fleet above Lorna now outnumbered the stars themselves. In a war room inside one of the landed transports, Commander Hale reviewed a map of the planet. 17 active raider zones, he said. 7 civilian pockets barely holding on. Soldier beside him asked, "Orders, sir?" Hale didn't hesitate. "Full defense deployment, no offensive strikes unless provoked. We're here to protect." The soldier nodded. "And if the raiders return?" "Then we show them," Hale said, "what a Deathworlder fleet really means." In the Colony Council dome, Elder Rana requested an audience with the human commander. She stood patiently in front of a tall soldier, hoping to be heard. Finally, the soldier pressed a hand to his helmet, and his voice came through a speaker. "Elder Rana, Commander Hale will see you now." She followed the guard into the Earth camp. It was unlike anything she had seen. Rows of weapons she couldn't name, screens showing activity from across the planet, machines moving supplies without a single error. She was brought into a cold room. Commander Hale stood at the center, tall and quiet. "Commander," she began, I don't know how to thank you." "No need," Hale replied. "We saw the signal. That was enough." She looked at him carefully. Many feared Earth would never answer, that humans would not come. Hale stared at the holographic map. "Humans don't come for politics or trade. We come for people. When someone's in danger, we don't ask who, we respond." Rana nodded slowly. "There are rumors about Earth, that your people are dangerous, cold, even cruel. We are dangerous," Hale said simply, "but never to the helpless." On the edge of the colony, a human patrol walked the perimeter. One of the soldiers, a woman named Lex, paused as she noticed movement nearby. From behind a broken wall, a small alien girl peeked out. She was thin, scared, and clutched a doll made from scraps. Lex knelt down, removed her helmet, and gently set down a ration bar on the ground between them. The girl didn't move. So Lex took her own blanket and laid it next to the food. Then she stood up and walked away. Only after she was gone did the child run forward, pick up the food and blanket, and run back into the shadows. From a rooftop, another alien saw the moment, and for the first time, he smiled. Inside a hidden cave system on the western hills, a group of raiders watched through stolen surveillance feeds. "They landed faster than we expected," one said. "They're not here to talk," said another. "Those are Earth's killers." "They're not killers," the leader growled. "They're reapers. They don't come to conquer, they come to end you." "Should we leave?" The leader shook his head. "No. We'll hit the weak side tomorrow. Let's see how long their Deathworlders last." But the humans were already watching. One drone hovered above the raiders' cave, silent, invisible. It marked their location. And waited. Because the Deathworlders were not just strong, they were prepared. The planet fall. The dawn came slowly over Lorna, but instead of the warmth of a peaceful sun, the skies above the colony were filled with long shadows cast by Earth's Warships, they hung in the air like silent watchers, massive steel titans, motionless but threatening. The largest, ECS Titan, had landed at the edge of the northern cliffs. Its engines still glowed faint blue, humming like a caged beast. All across the colony, humans were on the move. They didn't march. They flowed, disciplined, fast, and quiet. Their armor gleamed in the morning light. Their weapons were ready but not raised. Each group knew its task. Each soldier knew their path. To the colonists watching from windows and rooftops, it looked like a machine made of living people. No words, no shouting, just action. At the central plaza, a new line of alien civilians waited behind a barricade. Children, elders, wounded. Most stared with wide eyes as Deathworlders moved between them, distributing food packs, scanning for injuries, and placing advanced medkits beside the wounded. A young alien boy sat alone, his arms wrapped tightly around his knees. One human stopped. She knelt down, removed her helmet, and gave him a small blue packet. "Eat," she said softly. The boy looked up at her face, scarred, stern, but kind. He took the pack. Then she moved on. The boy didn't say a word, but in that moment, his fear began to fade. Inside the command center, Commander Hale stood before a glowing map of the planet. Dots showed human positions, shield barriers, and danger zones. A warning light blinked in red at the far west. "Unstable. Ground near the crater," said his second-in-command. "Raiders may be using it as a base." "Mark it," Hale ordered. "Send recon and drone surveillance. Full scan." "Yes, Commander." He turned to the next matter. Training the locals. "Assign 2 squads for civilian defense drills," he said. "If we leave, they need to defend themselves." "But Commander," the officer hesitated, "these people have never fought." "They don't need to fight," Hale replied. "They need to survive." By midday, Earth engineers had already restored power to key sectors of the colony. Clean water flowed. Communications hummed back to life. For many, it felt like waking from a nightmare into light. Elder Rana stood beside the power station, watching human workers finish repairs that would have taken local crews weeks. "You work like machines," she said to a nearby soldier. The human gave a short smile. "Machines don't care if the job gets done right. We do." Beyond the colony, borders, Deathworlder scouts pushed into the ruined outskirts. Burned villages, craters, blood, signs of brutal raids. They moved in tight formations, scanning for signs of enemy movement. In one shattered village, they found a survivor, a teenage alien barely breathing. A medic knelt beside him, injected a stim shot, and spoke softly. "You're safe now, Earth heard you." The teen opened his eyes and whispered, "Deathworlders." The medic nodded. "That's us." By evening, a calm had returned to the colony, something that hadn't existed in weeks. Alien families ventured outdoors. Children played under the shields. A few even waved at patrolling soldiers. One soldier waved back. Another shared a water flask with a local elder, who laughed for the first time since the attacks began. But not everyone was calm. From the high hills, through binoculars, a raider scout watched the colony from afar. "Something's different," he muttered into his "Come, what do you see?" asked the voice on the other end. "They're not scared anymore." "Why?" The scout zoomed in on the warships and soldiers. "Because now, Earth stands with them." In orbit, the fleet remained silent. Dozens of ships, thousands of troops, endless firepower, and yet, no demands, no flags planted, no orders barked, just one goal: protect the helpless. But deep in the night, an alert rang through the human network. Raider activity detected. Movement on the western ridge. Commander Hale stood without speaking. He walked to the display, saw the blinking red dot, and issued 3 words. "Send the message." Moments later, across the stars, another signal was sent. But this one didn't ask for help. This one was a warning. The fight begins. The first signs of the attack came just before dawn. Sensors hidden along the western ridge blinked red. Movement in the dust, dozens of fast contacts approaching the colony perimeter. Inside, the command center, alarms were silent but deadly efficient. Screens lit up, units moved. Commander Hale stared at the tactical map. Confirm identity. A tech officer responded quickly. Raider signatures matched, 30+ hostiles, moving fast, light armor, no air support. Send the outer squad. Do not engage until they fire. Outside the colony walls, a team of Deathworlder soldiers waited in the dark. No lights, no radio chatter, just stillness. They lay flat against the ground, their armor covered in desert dust. Their rifles were warm and ready. The raiders came closer, dirty, ragged, riding old hoverbikes and carrying plasma spears. They thought it would be like before, a soft, weak colony. Easy prey. Then they stepped into the kill zone. A red light blinked on the helmet of the lead human soldier. Permission granted. In a breathless second, the air exploded. No shouts, no warnings, just precision fire and flashing lights. Plasma bolts flew, then were eaten by shield barriers. The humans returned fire without moving from position. One raider's bike burst into flames before he could even scream. Another tried to run, but a net drone wrapped around his body mid-air and slammed him to the ground. Within 2 minutes, the skirmish was over. In the colony, the people heard distant echoes of the fight, but no alarms, no screams, no flames. They didn't know it yet, but their defenders had won before they even woke up. Elder Rana stood at the edge of the camp, watching faint lights in the west. She turned to the nearby soldier and asked, "Was it the raiders?" The soldier nodded. "And?" He looked out toward the fading smoke. "They won't try that again soon." At the battle site, the Deathworlder squad secured the field. One soldier approached a surviving raider, injured, tied, and shaking. The raider hissed through bloody teeth. "What are you?" The soldier leaned close. "We're the answer." He walked away, leaving the raider to be picked up by a drone. Back in the colony, something strange happened. The aliens who once hid from the humans now walked up to them. They brought small gifts, dried fruit, pieces of carved stone, fresh water. One child approached a soldier and touched his armor. "You saved us," she whispered. The soldier didn't respond. He just nodded and moved on. But inside, even the hard hearts of Earth's warriors felt something stir. They weren't just feared now. They were respected. Later that day, Commander Hale met with Elder Rana. "Again, more will come," she said. "They'll regroup, they always do." Hale nodded. "Let them. But we can't defend ourselves. When you leave." "We won't leave," he said. "Not until it's over." He motioned toward a row of young aliens being trained by human instructors. "They'll learn, they'll grow strong. Earth doesn't just fight for others, we help them fight for themselves." That evening, a ceremony was held. Not official, not planned. A gathering. Humans and aliens stood together. In the square, no speeches, just silent understanding. One human placed a glowing Earth banner beside the broken colony symbol, and without a word, the colonists began to rebuild, together. But far away in the raiders' main base, chaos was brewing. A leader slammed his fist on a cracked table. "They wiped out our scouting force without losing one soldier?" "Yes," the messenger replied. "We were outmatched. They're just humans." "No," the messenger said, voice shaking. "They're Deathworlders." The room fell silent. The leader leaned forward. "Then we need more fire, more ships, all of it. We burn them out." Another raider stepped forward. "And if that doesn't work?" The leader grinned, sharp teeth gleaming. "Then we run." But the Deathworlders were already planning. They weren't just building shields, they were building trust, and trust once earned becomes stronger than any wall. The first fight was over, but the war had only just begun. The truth of Deathworlders, the away. Training grounds were set up near the colony's eastern ridge, flat land once used for farming, now filled with targets, drones, and practice weapons. Under the blazing twin suns, groups of alien civilians stood awkwardly, gripping human-designed gear. Their hands were shaky, their movements unsure. A human instructor named Bren, face hidden behind a dark visor, walked up and down the line. "You're not soldiers," he said calmly, "but you're survivors. That's a start." An alien elder raised his hand. "We've never fought. We're not like you." Bren stopped. He pointed to the scars across his armored arm. "You think we were born fighters? No. Earth made us. It burned us, broke us. We learned to survive the worst planet in the galaxy, and we never forgot what it taught us." He paused. "You don't have to be killers. Just protectors. That's enough." Elsewhere in the colony, Commander Hale stood with Elder Rana on a tower platform watching the training unfold. "Your people, they don't act like the stories say," she said. "What do your stories say? That Earth's people are cold, merciless, that when humans land, planets burn?" Hale's eyes didn't leave the training field. Some planets needed to burn. She said nothing. He continued. "There was a time when no one came to help Earth. We faced monsters, real ones, and the galaxy watched. So we made a promise. If we ever rose, we wouldn't be like them." She turned to him. "And now you're feared." Hale nodded. "Better to be feared for doing right than forgotten for doing nothing." Inside a temporary medical unit, a young alien named Dalen sat beside his wounded brother. A human medic, soft-spoken and careful, applied a healing gel. "Why do you help us?" Dalen asked. The medic looked at him. "Because no one else would. You don't even know us. Don't need to. You asked for help. We came." Dalen lowered his head. "I thought Deathworlders were monsters." The medic smiled. "Monsters don't carry stretchers." Later that day, the colony square saw something no one expected, a joint patrol of humans and alien volunteers. Side by side, they walked the perimeter. Some aliens still stumbled. Some dropped their gear, but the humans didn't laugh. They didn't scold. They showed them again, and again, and again. Because that's what Deathworlders did. They endured, and they taught others to endure too. In orbit, aboard the ECS Titan, a meeting of Earth fleet officers was underway. "We've confirmed the Raider base coordinates," said one officer. "West Canyon, heavily armed. Estimated 400 hostiles. Too many for the colonists to handle," another added. Commander Hale stood still, arms crossed. "We go in. Full strike?" "No," he said. "Surgical, precise. We don't burn villages to save them." A brief silence followed, then a single word echoed across the room. "Understood." That night at the edge of the colony, a small group of alien children sat near a fire. One of them pointed at the stars. "Which one is Earth?" A human soldier sitting nearby tapped his helmet and displayed a small holographic map. "There." The children stared. "It's so far," one whispered. "Is it really that dangerous?" The soldier nodded. "Every animal on Earth can kill you, even the plants, even the weather. Then why? Why are humans so kind?" The soldier smiled, beneath his helmet. "Because we had to learn. When you grow up surrounded by danger, you either become cruel or you choose to protect." Inside the human camp, Commander Hale watched a recording from the early days of the war. Earth cities burning, fleets falling, skies black with smoke. He shut it off. He remembered what it felt like to be abandoned, and he made sure Earth would never do the same to others. In the desert far beyond the colony, the Raider leader stood before his army. "Tomorrow," he growled, "we take back what's ours. The humans will fall. They're only brave because they've never bled." He raised his weapon high. The Raiders cheered, but hidden above them, high in the cliffs, a tiny drone hovered, silent, unseen, watching, recording, because the Deathworlders didn't guess, they planned, and soon the galaxy would learn one more truth: when Earth defends, it never backs down. Final siege dust storms rose with the morning wind. The raiders were already moving. Hundreds of them rode outdated vehicles, roaring, screeching, and kicking up clouds across the desert. Makeshift banners fluttered behind them. Lass rifles and spike launchers lined their backs. They charged toward Lorna, confident, overconfident. At their center, the raider leader shouted through his amplifier, "Deathworlders bleed the same as anyone. We'll crack their skulls and turn their steel into scrap." Cheers followed, but they didn't know what was waiting. In the colony, alarms sounded, not loud, but calm and precise. Earth Command had known this would happen. Commander Hale stood at the front line watching the data feed. "They're coming fast," said his officer, "straight into the trap." "Just as planned," Hale replied. He turned to the alien volunteers, now geared up in makeshift armor, trained over days of sleepless drills. Their faces were scared but steady. "You know what to do," Hale said to them. "You're not victims anymore. You're defenders." One of them, a young woman named Lena, nodded. "We fight beside Earth." Hale gave a short nod. "Good. We'll hold the line together." As the raiders neared the colony, they saw the walls fortified with strange energy towers and sharp barriers. They didn't stop. The lead vehicle rammed forward, straight into a pulse mine. Boom. The explosion flipped 3 bikes and sent a wall of heat through the raider line. Then came the artillery, small, precise, launched from Earth's support drones. They fired silently, but each blast shook the air. Still, the raiders charged. Then Earth's infantry stepped forward, the Deathworlders. "We're ready." Rows of armored humans, shoulder to shoulder, stood at the gates. Their rifles hummed. Their suits glowed. Their helmets locked. Behind them, alien defenders took position with Earth-made blasters. And when the first wave of raiders reached the outer ring, the sky lit up. Lasers tore across the field. Shield domes flickered and held strong. Earth's drones swooped like hawks, disabling enemy weapons mid-flight. Explosive traps detonated in patterns the raiders didn't understand. And then the Deathworlders charged. They moved fast, too fast. Not like heavy machines, but like shadows. Silent, smooth, unstoppable. In close combat, human soldiers showed their true strength. One lifted a raider off the ground and threw him through a wall. Another deflected 3 blade swings before knocking his enemy out cold. The aliens watching from the rooftops gasped. This was no ordinary military. This was Earth's elite. But the raiders were many. They regrouped and slammed into the left flank. A line began to bend. A young alien defender screamed, cornered. Before the raider could strike, a human soldier jumped into the path, absorbing the blade into his armor, and knocked the attacker out with a single punch. The alien stared in shock. "You okay?" the soldier asked. I thought I was going to die." "Not today," the soldier said. "Not while we're here." From above, the ECS Titan activated its support weapons. Not to destroy, but to protect. Targeted EMP bursts disabled raider communications. Microwave jammers shorted out their shields. The sky itself had turned against them. One raider leader tried to retreat, but Earth wasn't done. On the far hill, a new shape emerged. A towering mech, Earth's mobile battle frame, stomped into view, piloted by a single human and backed by plasma drones. Its voice boomed across the battlefield. "Your attack ends here." The mech unleashed a wave of force that sent shockwaves through the remaining attackers. Panic spread. The raiders, so confident hours before, began to scatter. As silence fell, smoke rising from the field, the defenders stood together, alien and, human. One line. One victory. The children who once feared Deathworlders now ran out to greet them. Lena, still breathing hard, stood beside a human soldier. "We did it," she said. The soldier nodded. Together. Inside the command center, Hale watched the data as red markers vanished from the map. "Casualties?" he asked. "Minor. Most civilians safe. Raiders defeated. Some captured." He exhaled slowly. "Send the message to orbit." Minutes later, a signal went out from Lorna to every system in reach. Colony secure. Earth stood. The people stood with them. We are not alone anymore. And in that moment, for the first time in history, the galaxy began to believe it. A new name in the stars, the smoke had cleared. The raiders were gone, either captured, fleeing, or buried beneath the sands they once ruled. The colony of Lorna stood battered but alive. For the first time in weeks, the sky looked blue again. But something else had changed too. Not just the colony, the people. Elder Rana walked slowly through the central square, where Earth engineers and alien volunteers worked side by side. New buildings were rising from the rubble. Water systems hummed with life. Children laughed in the background, running between the legs of armored soldiers who now wore their helmets off. She saw Commander Hale near the old council dome, giving quiet orders to a squad leader. "You're not leaving yet?" she asked. "Him? Not yet," Hale replied. "Still some work to finish, defenses to complete, medical tents to restock. You've already given us more than we ever hoped for." Hale looked around the rebuilt square. "We didn't come for thanks. We came because no one else did." She smiled. "Your people, they've changed how we see Earth." "We're not here to be seen," Hale said. "We're here so you're not ignored again." On the outskirts, a group of young alien recruits practiced drills with human trainers. Their movements were sharper now, faster, more confident. One of the Earth soldiers tossed a practice blade to Lena, who caught it mid-air. "You're ready," he said. She shook her head. "I'm not like you." "Good," the soldier said. "You're like you, that's better." At sunset, a quiet ceremony took place. There were no parades, no medals. Just a large stone placed in the ground at the center of the colony. Carved into it were two symbols, the Star of Earth and the Sun of Lorna. Below it, the words, "We called for help. Earth answered, and we stood together." Around the stone, humans and aliens gathered in silence. A child stepped forward and placed a small flower at the base. He looked up at a tall human soldier and asked, "Will you come back if we call again?" The soldier kneeled. "We never left." The next day, Earth ships began to rise from the ground. One by one, the fleet returned to orbit, silent giants retreating into the stars. From the colony below, eyes watched with awe and respect, not fear. Elder Rana stood on the highest balcony, watching ECS Titan disappear into the clouds. "You changed everything," she whispered. Across the galaxy, messages spread. Reports from survivors, footage of the battle, interviews with alien, citizens once ignored. Every system, every council, every power that chose to stay silent now saw the truth. The Deathworlders came not to conquer, but to defend. In deep space, a pirate fleet turned away from a colony sending an SOS, fearful that Earth might respond. In a royal chamber, a high lord of a wealthy empire paused as he read the report from Lorna. "They sent their best," he muttered, "and asked for nothing in return." And in distant colonies where hope had long since died, alien voices began to whisper a new prayer. "Let Earth hear us." Back in Earth's outer command, Commander Hale reviewed incoming signals. More beacons. More cries for help. He turned to his second in command. "Start organizing the next response." "Already done, sir." Hale looked out the viewing screen at the stars. "We'll show them again what Deathworlders stand for. Because when Earth answers a call for help, they don't just arrive, they stand, they fight, and they never ever abandon the innocent."